Now, the premise of this book is giving 10 Things I Hate About You. Then we sadly have a 1-star prediction, definitely forcing the fake dating trope. Unpopular opinion, the fake dating trope is not a draw for me. It looks as if a bunch of fall leaves got together and peed on the book cover. It's never good enough, but I did my best. Hello, my name is Gavin, and today we are doing a book haul. What's up, cuties? As you may have noticed, I have undergone some changes. Currently, I am filming a week-long experiment video where I impersonate Gavin of How to Train Your Gavin, and he chooses every single thing that I do, from what I wear to what I film to what activities I engage in and more. Today is actually the final day of the experiment, and I was filming this book haul earlier on my new camera, which decided to die on me. So it is a new day, and I'm going to keep talking about these books, but this time I am appearing as Gavin. Before, when I started filming the footage, I was not Gavin because I could not get this damn beard to work. But what I did is I attached string to it, and then I just wove it around my ear in this little cuff. We love it. We simply love to see it. I feel like this video is either going to do really well, or everyone's gonna be like, what the fuck is going on? And isn't gonna watch it at all. I'm gonna try and get the Gavin vlog up before this one for context. So that is hopefully going to be linked down below in the description. But if this video does get up first, just wait and seek out the Gavin video. It should be like the next video that I produce. So we are going to continue on with this book haul. When my camera died, I was in the midst of talking about this book. So what I'm gonna do is put that old footage right here, and then when you see this lovely bearded face again, we are going to be talking about how to succeed in witchcraft, How to Train Your Jessie, and How to Succeed in Witchcraft. These books are everything from special editions of books that I absolutely love, highly anticipated releases, newly released copies of beloved books, and so much more. So without further ado, let us just get into all of the pages that I am going to be inhaling in my library the second I turn this camera off. The first book I will be featuring is Child of Light by none other than Terry Brooks. Terry Brooks is the brilliant mind that brought us the Shannara Chronicles, which I have not read. I have heard nothing short of phenomenal things about this writer, and this cover is absolutely amazing. Y'all know earth magic, foresty things, anything like that, vines, flowers. I mean, you've seen my decor is absolutely up my aisle. So I cannot wait to get into Child of Light. And this is a book about a girl whose name is Aureus Afton Grieg, who ever since she has been 14 years old, she has been trapped in a goblin prison. When do we get to see goblins in modern fantasy books? I could not possibly be more excited. At this point, she is 19 years old, and she is trying to escape the children's prison, and she's rescued by a handsome yet alien stranger. This sounds absolutely phenomenal. For those of you who have already read Terry Brooks, comment down below, tell me what you have thought of his works. Tell me what your favorite book of his is, and if there are any of his works that I should steer clear of. Is this a good place to start, and are you excited and anticipating this book? Staying with our fantasy reads, we have one of my most top 5 anticipated sequels coming out, and I'm so excited. And I cannot believe that I have the sequel to Daughter of the Moon Goddess in my hand. This is book 2 in the Celestial Kingdom duology, and I still maintain that this cover is absolutely hideous, but I do not care. The art on it itself is fantastic, but all of the orange and the yellow I feel should have been done just a little bit differently. We should have thrown some black in there, something to kind of break up this. It looks as if a bunch of fall leaves got together and peed on the book cover. I just don't like it. It's not doing it for me. And I just am so excited to be revisiting Xinyan and her world and her amazing shenanigans, the ways that she gets herself out of these insane situations. Like, she is one of those characters who is brilliant at getting herself out of a situation where you're like, yep, she gonna die, goodbye. And she finds her way out every single time with just these genius, highly inventive solutions. But also, on top of the fact that she is very intelligent, she has a heart of gold, and she's not afraid to use it. She's not afraid to follow it. In the first book, we get to see her struggle with loyalty and love. We get to see her train and come into power and come of age, while also bearing this ginormous responsibility on her shoulders of freeing her mother, who is the moon goddess, from an incredible celestial prison that she has been sentenced to for all of life's time. The introduction of dragons was amazing. Dragons, so good. I cannot wait. I loved that the dragons were such moral and loving creatures of incredible power, but ones that were deeply committed to peace. I absolutely love beings that are deeply powerful but are very careful with how they use their abilities. I love that duality there, and just everything about this book. I simply cannot wait. My patrons read this. We read this for my Patreon last year when it came out, and I have to see if they want to read the sequel together because we absolutely loved this book. But we've already voted Babel as our October book pick, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait until November to read this book. I just don't know. Keeping in line with our fantasy reads, we have the re-released version of A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This book was picked up by Orbit Books and the cover was re-released. This cover, nothing short of brilliant. Described as a dark, lush, heart-renderingly romantic book, this follows a polyamorous coven of vampires who are under the control of the man that made them. However, he is abusive, and these three are trying to essentially escape from being under his lock and key, his hand and foot. This really dark paranormal romance that talks so much about how to escape your abusive situation, but not just physically escape, but also mentally and emotionally escape that relationship as well. And it starts out with us following a young woman who is made into a vampire by the guy who eventually becomes her abuser. And so she really leans on him because he's the only one who's there to teach her about this world. But the relationship very, very quickly becomes toxic, and it was beautifully written. It was poignant. The polyamorous sex scene was very, very steamy indeed. I really, really enjoyed this book. Could deal without the deckled edges that this edition has. It's giving Y, but it also does have exclusive extra content as well as this new beautiful cover, and that's good enough for me. I also could not resist from ordering the Illumicrate special edition of Babel. R.F. Kuang is an author that is auto-buy for me. I love her. I stand by her wholeheartedly, and I've heard such mixed things about this book. I've heard mainly good things, but I've also heard some pretty damning things, and I will say no matter what I end up rating this book, I will never regret having purchased it. This edition is beautiful. We have this gorgeous quote on the pages that says, "An act of translation is always an act of betrayal," and it comes with this gorgeous case, and this is one of my most easiest purchases that I've ever had to make. Taking the book out of the case, this is what she looks like. I mean, come on. And I know I'm gonna want to annotate this book, so I'm thinking of picking up I'm thinking of waiting until people start selling their used copies of this book and then getting one to annotate, because I'm not annotating this special edition. But just look, you guys, name something more beautiful. Name something more magical and divine than this book. I'll wait. Keeping in line with these beautiful, magical, fantastical books, we have a Black Mermaid series. The first book is called Skin of the Sea, and the second is called Soul of the Deep. And these two covers are so breathtakingly stunning. These covers were designed by Jeff Manning, who is my favorite artist of all time. I have high hopes that he will be the cover artist for my book. In this must-read West African fantasy series, we are following a young girl named Simi who once prayed to the gods, but now has become Mami Wata herself. Mami Wata has been charged with collecting the souls of those who have died at sea and escorting them to peace. But when she saves the life of a drowning man, she gets into a hell of a lot of trouble and must be punished. I have not officially read this series, but I'm so excited. I've heard nothing but amazing things, and I know that I want to do a Black Girl Magic reading vlog for these books in particular. And I might wait to do it until the Ariel movie comes out, because I think it'll just be perfect timing. Next up, we have How to Succeed in Witchcraft. I have been highly anticipating this book. I cannot believe that Penguin Teen sent it to me. I'm going to be doing a collaboration with them on Instagram later, and I'm so very excited for it. In this book, we are following a girl named TK Anderson, I believe, and she is attending the Magical Magnet School, and she decides to Oh my god, my camera is going to die, so I'm going to finish this later. Oh, I forgot about having to charge cameras. No, please don't die on me. I'm gonna do my best to charge my camera, and the light is already fading, so if you don't see me until tomorrow, look, y'all, I did my best. It's never good enough, but I did my best. What's up, y'all? What the fuck was that? Sorry, my voice is all weird because I've been switching in and out of Gavin's accent all week. My accent already is weird because when I was little, I had a New York accent because I would spend time, my summers in New York. So I had a little bit of a New York accent, especially if I was mad, because my mother had a New York accent. And you know, when you're angry, a lot of times you mimic your parent. So even now, if I'm really mad or I'm just having attitude and I'm speaking in lots of attitude, you'll hear my New York accent slip out. And then I also have a Minnesotan accent, which is apparent when you hear me say an A or an O, and I absolutely hate it because it is the least sexy accent that's ever lived. And I also have a Spanish accent that comes out because my mom's side is Mexican. So my voice is just a combination of all of these things, and so it's been very, very hard trying to mimic Gavin's accent because my accent is already so unique, and then also Gavin's accent isn't your classically British accent, like, you know what I mean? So it's just been such a wild mind funk of a week. So you just gotta bear with me. I don't know what's coming out of my body. And also on top of that, I am about to start filming a video series where I dress up as Blackula, aka Black Dracula, and recommend books. And I'm actually filming my TBR today. So I've been practicing this Blackula voice that I've made up. It is a little bit Transylvanian, but not entirely. You know what I mean? Like, so I've just been playing with all these voices, and my brain, my one brain cell is splitting in half. So let's continue with how to succeed in witchcraft. What is happening? So essentially this video, this is a sapphic witchy book. It's Hate to Love, and I'm excited to read it, and we're just gonna move the funk on. God, this video is already level 10 chaotic. And now we are going to talk about Legendborn. There's a lot going on in this book, and it has been, I think, 2 years since Legendborn dropped. It was on the New York Times bestselling list for so very long. And we've all been deeply anticipating the sequel. And so I don't like to do unboxings in my book hauls. I like to have my unboxings separate, but I have a special treat for y'all, a special little surprise, you know what I'm saying, darling? And that is Bloodmarked. This is an early copy of Bloodmarked, and this is their promotional box. I've actually had this box for like 2 months, and I've been saving it for the special occasion, for a special occasion, in order to open it. And you know what? I think this is a beautiful time. So this is what we see when we open up the books, and I'm already obsessed. Oh, nice! It looks like there's a tattoo. Yes, I love when boxes include tattoos. I am a child, and I still love fake tattoos. And then, oh no! Ooh, I was not expecting this. They sent finished copies of both Legendborn and Bloodmarked. Oh my god, they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous. Wow. Oh, no. Okay, so this is a finished copy of Legendborn, and then this is an arc of Bloodmarked. But you get to see the finished cover, which is utterly stunning. Yeah, the cover artist did a really fantastic. Okay, yes, I am very, very obsessed. Bree has become someone new, a medium, a blood crafter, a scion. And if you know me quite well, you'll know that ancestral magic is deeply, deeply important to me, and ancestral spirituality is something that is very important in my familia. So the fact that these books have an ancestor component and also like have blood magic, it's just all the things that I love. And so I'm going to be doing a Black Girl Magic reading vlog where I am going to be reading these books, and maybe I'll get a mage costume, who knows. So you're gonna see that very, very soon. And then this is a really beautiful pin that says the Legendborn cycle. I don't know if this is in focus, and I'm trying, this is my first sit down video that I'm filming with my camera, so I'm not gonna fuck with it. I am really excited, and I'm gonna do a little Instagram reel showing off this box. So I didn't realize that they were sending me a finished copy of Legendborn, and I already have an ARC. So I'm wondering if I should take this brand new copy that I just bought from Pango Books and annotate it and put it up for sale. I have been selling my annotated books on Pango. No, I have to sneeze. I don't want to sneeze my beard off. Suck it up, bitch. Okay. We good, we good. Ew, what's happening? So maybe I'll do that. If any of you want me to post this on my Pango and annotate it, let me know. And if you want to check out my Pango, it is a used bookstore where I sell some of my brand new books and some of my used books. And that's going to be at the very bottom of the description. Pango is this really amazing app for book selling, and it's awesome. I recommend it to everyone. The average book there, in my experience, is $5. Like, I got this, I think, for somewhere like $9, and it's in freaking perfect condition. Then we have a book that I am not certain I'm going to read, and that is The River of Silver, and this is Tales from the Devabad trilogy. This author, S.A. Chakraborty, is known for writing the City of Brass series, which is a series that I have been debating reading for quite a long time, and I'm probably not going to, but I'm not going to lie, this does sound interesting, and I am intrigued by the series. So I think I'm going to read literally all of the series that I'm interested in first, and then maybe decide if I want to, you know, go into Chakraborty's works. I just have some mixed feelings about the author that I'm still working through. I'm not even gonna say anything about the City of Brass series because I don't know about it, but I do know that this is a book that just came out, and it talks about things that happened before the City of Brass and also after. So if you are a big fan of this series, this is a book that you are going to want to read, and I'm thinking this might be a really good introduction into the world, even though you should obviously read this after having read City of Brass, the series, because it is short, it is sweet, it is 200 pages, and it should be a really fantastic introduction into the world itself and Chakraborty's writing. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think. This stack here is mainly horror books, and y'all know that is my absolute fave. I have been really leaning into my thrillers and horrors within the last couple of years. There's mainly horror books, there's some thrillers, and I think there's one science fiction book, and that is going to be none other than Agency by William Gibson. I have been so intrigued and interested in this book for quite some time. Science fiction and romance are my least read genres, but I absolutely love science fiction. Science fiction means a lot to me as a genre, but I just don't reach for it enough. I think that this would be a really good foray back into reading sci-fi. This has one of my favorite tropes, which is an intelligent cyborg, an intelligent robot. In Agency, we are following a robot, an AI, who was created by this very powerful experimental organization. Essentially, her cryptic new employers do not realize how valuable and powerful she actually is, and I'm very, very excited for this sci-fi thriller. Next up, we're going to be spotlighting Blood Will Tell by Heather Chavez, released on April 26th of this year. This is a thriller that sounds messier than my love life. We are following a single mom and older sister named Frankie, who has always been protecting her younger, wild and chaotic sister, Izzy. One day, Izzy goes missing, and the truck that she goes missing in is the same one that was implicated in a girl's disappearance many years ago. 6 of these friends went into the woods. The sisters were in the group, and one of them disappeared. The circumstances of their friend disappearing were never made clear, and I love that trope of like these 6 friends with a secret, and especially anything with woods and complicated sibling relationships. So I'm very excited about this one. Have any of you read it? Let me know in the comment section down below whether or not I should prioritize. I don't know how this got into my thriller pile, but this is actually a part of the Illumicrate special edition for Babbel, and it is this reading journal. Now, this reading journal is absolutely beautiful. It's got a weekly plan and a habit tracker. It has a space for anticipated releases and for your book hauls, and it also has character art interspersed throughout the pages. I also have the bookmarks that came in the Illumicrate box as well, and these bookmarks are all for the Babbel character art. Just look at this, y'all. This is beautiful. It's stunning. I wish I was as attractive as this journal and these bookmarks. Next up, we have my favorite horror classic of all time, which is The Picture of Dorian Gray. I have just started this obsession of collecting editions of The Picture of Dorian Gray. I am really excited. I want to reread it this year and see that whether or not it has held up for me. And this is also a collection of short stories. It's one of the most beautiful editions of this story that I've ever seen, and I'm really excited. Dorian Gray is a character that has been immortalized, pun intended, in so many movies, and there has been different renditions of his character, and I've been so impressed with the various performances. And if you're not familiar with Dorian Gray, essentially he is this very vain young man who decides to have a portrait painted of him, and the portrait will age while he does not. And the portrait will also reflect all of his sins, and he will continue to live forever so long as he does not gaze upon the portrait or show it. I am so freaking excited about this. Next up, this is going to be giving an author a second chance, and that is The Honeys by Ryan LaSala, who is just such a beloved author. And Ryan's debut book, which was not Bedazzled, that was their second book, but the first one was Reverie. Reverie was such a mixed book for me. I loved so much about the book, but I didn't love a few other things about the book, and overall it just was a little bit of a disappointment. It still made me excited to pick up more of Ryan's works and see how his craft has matured. And this is a book where we're following siblings, we're following twins, which is really exciting, but unfortunately one of them has passed, and we are following gender queer twin whose name I think is Mars, and he takes his twin sister's place at this prestigious summer academy in the woods and meets this group of girls called the Honeys. And that's another trope that I love. I love powerful cliques with a secret kind of thing. This book is supposed to be absolutely incredible. It's supposed to be like Midsommar vibes. God, I can't wait. Like, it's supposed to be very psychedelic and weird and unsettling and spooky. And I've heard that there's like B horror or body horror, and I can't wait. Now, this is a book I'm absolutely going to be reading in October, and that is Jackal by Erin E. Adams. I believe this is the author's debut. And first of all, this cover is giving everything that I was not given as a child. This book is about a girl who lives on the edge of a Rust Belt town, and Black girls like her are going missing by the dozens, and they are reappearing as corpses that have been mutilated. And so this is kind of one of those Get Out-esque books where race is a big component in the horror of the story, and that is one of my favorite tropes. I love horror that has social commentary. Sometimes it's not done well and sometimes it is, but I especially love seeing what debut Black authors are doing with their racialized horror books, and I'm just so freaking excited. Now, I have a video that I push every year, especially around this time, that is called White Authors Don't Get to Define What's Scary. I really encourage y'all, if you are non-Black and a big fan of horror and want to get into more Black horror books and more people of color horror, watching that video, because so often I will hear white horror and thriller readers say really insensitive and diminishing things of the horror that people of color are putting out, and I think it might be something that will really benefit and help, and it's a video that I'm incredibly proud of, so that'll be in the description box down below if you want to check it out. Now we've got a stack of contemporary-esque books, and oops, I almost knocked over my water. That would not be good. It's perfect because I need a little sip. Gavin is thirsty, honey. We have gotten so good at drinking with this beard, okay? Okay. Although this is not big lip friendly, okay, because I be having to stretch this shit. She Gets the Girl is the first of the contemporary romances that I'm going to be showing off, and I am so excited. Megan of Books and Blazers said that this book is absolutely incredible, and it is one of my most anticipated releases. As you can see, this is a roller skating romance, and I love roller skating. I'm going to be writing a middle grade book centering roller skaters, Black roller skate dancers in Atlanta, and I absolutely cannot wait. I'm working on a different book right now though, and so this is a book that is told by two authors, which often, I'm not gonna lie, does not work for me. So I am excited to kind of get that trope, writing technique, whatever, another chance. And I don't know how the romance kind of comes into play, but I know that, you know, it's sapphic, it's roller skating, and that was all I needed to know. This cover is beautiful. I don't care to know more than that. Oh, that's right, the premise of the book kind of didn't work for me, and so I was like, you know what, let me just stop reading the synopsis and just go in with an open mind, because it was something like one of the girls is a flirt, she's definitely a player, and she starts fake dating the other girl to prove to this other girl that she likes that she can be serious about someone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, oh, okay, that sounds unnecessarily complicated, and it sounds like definitely forcing the fake dating trope. Unpopular opinion, the fake dating trope is not a draw for me. 9 times out of 10, it doesn't even work for me. So I would love to hear in the comment section down below, what are some tropes that y'all are not big on? I did a video on tropes that I hate, and also one where I reacted to the tropes that you hate or love and hate, something like that. I don't fucking remember. Those videos are gonna be linked in the comment section down below. Why do I keep saying comment section? Description box. Now, a queer romance that I'm just nothing but excited for is Nate Plus One, and this has a bunch of freaking tropes that I'm so deeply geeked for. And in Nate Plus One, we are following 2 friends, and one of them has to go to this wedding, and he finds out that his ex is gonna be there, and he's like, oh my god, I cannot show up without a date. So they decide to road trip together, and his buddy's gonna be his date. I love the road trip trope. I love friends to lovers, and I love that we get to see a male-male romance between 2 men of color. We were just doing the live show for Café con Leche for MB Book Club, which is a non-binary book club that yours truly runs. And we were talking about how rare it is to have romances, especially YA romances, that have 2 characters of color. Usually you see a character of color dating a white person, which is absolutely fine, but it is frustrating that you rarely get to see 2 people, you know, kids of color in love with each other. And so I'm really excited about this book for that reason too, among just so many reasons. And it's really great that this is an Own Voices story, and I'm so utterly geeked. I just can't wait. The cover is phenomenal. I can't wait. Then we have Love Radio, which I've heard nothing but fantastic things about. First of all, the cover is giving. It's one of my most anticipated releases. And again, we get to see a really cute romance between 2 young Black people. I just love it. And these box braids on the cover, come on, what more do you want? Now, the premise of this book is giving 10 Things I Hate About You. It is giving She's All That. It's giving 90s, early 2000s rom-com vibes, which is what makes me so geeked about it. And so we are following a songwriter that is this gentleman here, and he likes to be behind the scenes. He doesn't want to be on stage, he doesn't want to be a singer, but he does want to be a songwriter. And we are following this very studious girl who I believe runs a podcast, and he just falls head over heels for her. And she's like, you know what, I'm about my paper, I'm about my career, I don't have time for this. But she begrudgingly agrees to give him 3 dates to impress her or make her fall in love. And he's like, yep, I'm down for the challenge. And that just sounds so good. Like, I can't wait for that. Then we sadly have a 1-star prediction, and this is Taylor Jenkins Reid's Carrie Soto is back. Y'all know that this author is not exactly my favorite. A couple of her books really have not worked for me, but there's one of her books that I gave 5 stars. It's one of my favorites, and that is Daisy Jones and the Six. I do think that this is going to be a 1-star because I wasn't a huge fan of the premise. I did have some issues with it, and then Jan read it and was like, Jessie, you are going to hate this book. And 9 times out of 10, if one of my best friends is like, y'all, look, you gonna hate this book, they know me, you know what I mean? But I am always, let me preface this by saying I'm always willing to have my mind changed by the actual book itself. If I go in and I'm loving the book, I'm not gonna rate it 1 star just because that was my notion from the beginning, you know what I mean? I love when books surprise me. I love when I go into a book thinking I'm not gonna like it and it becomes a new fave. So we'll see what happens. I of course will be doing either a reading vlog or a dedicated review. So let me know if you want to see a reading 1-star prediction vlog or just me reviewing the book. I did one video where I criticized the premise of this book, and then I did another video where I talk about the problematic aspects of The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and then another video where I read 1-star reviews of Evelyn Hugo. So I'll leave all of those in the description box below, not me just like plugging all of my videos. So essentially this is a little bit of a sports romance, and we're following this retired athlete. She is a tennis player, an Olympic tennis player, and she comes out of retirement because another female athlete broke her record. And she's being trained by her father that she has a really strenuous relationship with, and I think she's falling in love with some dude. First of all, I'm already not loving how long this is. Like, what is going on with this? I hate the cover. The cover, what is happening with this cover? I have so many questions and they all start with why, but we'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. Now we've got a nonfiction book that I am so deeply excited about. I've been waiting for this author to come out with another nonfiction for years, and that is Susan Cain's Bittersweet. And this is essentially a nonfiction book about why we as people are so deeply obsessed with nostalgia and looking back and longing in the past. And I'm a person, I'm gonna be the first to say, I'm a person who really deeply struggles with letting go of things. It's interesting because if I'm upset with you and you apologize, or we have a fight, we're friends, we fight, I let go of that so easily. But when it comes to nostalgia things, I am a sucker for it. And also, like, even if we fell in love and we broke up, it's really hard for me to move on from like heartbreak. And so I think that this is a book that's really going to mean a lot to me. And she wrote Quiet years ago, which is why she's so famed. And it's basically her scientific findings and essays about introversion and introverts, especially in the workplace. And that book is just so close to my heart as someone who actually off camera is deeply introverted. And I've been trying to reach out to people and make more friends and be less of a hermit in the last year. And we have two very beautiful romances. The first is You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by my favorite author, Akweke Emezi. And this is a book where we are following Feyi, who is this grieving artist, and she goes to, where the fuck does she go? She meets this guy and he whisks her off to a Caribbean island, and she falls in love. First sight, falls in love with his father. This is one of the messiest romance books I've ever read, and I had to have the Illumicrate special edition. And just how utterly stunning is it? Everything about it is gorgeous. It came with this really cute little lunch box, and also it came with this gorgeous bookmark. On the back it says, "Imagine that, Feyi, we're alive and I love you." And then on the front it says, "You made a fool of death with your beauty." And this is just absolutely my favorite romance of all time. And look at this gorgeous author photo. Okay, I'm getting the hang of the autofocus. So then we've got another romance book, and this is going to be my first of Jessie Q Sutanto's works, and that is Well, That Was Unexpected. This has a bunch of tropes that I absolutely love. I'm making a 5-star prediction. I would be shocked if this book wasn't a 5 out of 5 stars, and y'all know that I can't stand romance. This is a story about a young woman whose mother catches her in a compromising position with her boyfriend, and says that she's being too loose and sends her off to her family in Indonesia, where she meets the George Clooney of Indonesia. And his parents kind of push him into a relationship with her, and so they start kind of going on dates. I don't know if it's a fake dating thing. It just sounds like it's going to be absolutely wonderful for me, and I'm very excited. And the final book that I am going to be showing off in this book haul is Parachutes by Kelly Yang. This book is one that was one of my most highly anticipated releases when it came out, and I never got around to reading it. I got this gorgeous copy from Pango for like $5, and it's in phenomenal condition. And it also has a bunch of tropes that I love. Monty said that it is devastating and really sad and surprisingly heavy, and I love my hard, heavy-hitting contemporaries. So I think this is going to be amazing. And so this is about parachutes who are teenagers that are dropped off to study in the United States while their wealthy parents remain in Asia. And we're following Claire, who never thought she would be one of these teenagers, and it's about her relationship with her host family sister. And I don't mean romantic relationship, but just the relationship between these two girls. And then we're also following the other sister, whose name is Danny, who never thought that she would have to, live with a host sister. And it is supposed to be just a book that's gonna rip your heart out, and I love sad books. All right, that is going to do it for this book haul. Don't forget to look out for that Gavin experiment video. Check out the other videos that I have linked in the description box and reference. If you want more content from me, I do have a Patreon where I make exclusive content for my patrons only. This month we are reading Babel by R.F. Kuang. We are going to be watching the live action remake of Scooby-Doo. We're doing reading sprints with Bree of Locked Booktition, who is the host of Black Aweenathon. And the dedicated video that I'm filming for my patrons is books that I want to read again. So we do a lot of fun stuff over there. We're doing a live stream as well. And if you're curious about the book that I am writing, the top tier patrons get writing excerpts and content surrounding that book. So lots of fun stuff, but if you want to check me out in other places, you can stalk me via my socials down below. So that is gonna do it for this video. Until next time, stay safe, be good to yourselves, be good to others, and I hope to see you in my next video.